Hey there. Welcome to the If Money Were Easy podcast, the show where we teach you how to expand what's possible with your money. We're your hosts, Neela Hummel
and Beth Storjohann,
certified financial planners and co-CEOs of Abacus Wealth Partners. Today on the show, we're going to talk about how to pick a financial advisor that's right for you. Well, this is a fun one.
This is a fun one. Is it because we're financial advisors?
Oh, because we're like, oh, you lucky you get to meet a financial planner. We're such fun people.
But also, we have bones to pick with half of them. So I don't know.
That's true.
I mean, we are fun people.
We can be.
We can be.
Yeah.
And we're also judgy sometimes.
But we're also very nerdy. So
we are. Yeah.
Be in good hands.
It's great. It's a full package. So let's just hit, I think from the top, the great thing, we're financial advisors. There's financial advisors. There are financial planners. There's a wealth manager, a wealth planner, a wealth advisor, a certified financial planner. What am I missing? An investment broker, investment agent.
Right. Investment professional.
Investment professional. Yes.
So what's the difference? Which one do you want?
Well, which one do you want? I know which one I want.
Right. Well, obviously, as certified financial planners,
yes,
we skew towards certified financial planners. I think.
But why?
Why? So financial advisor, financial planner, investment advisor, yada, 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 pretty much everything else that you named that wasn't a certified financial planner is a completely unregulated term. Mm-hmm. I could call my dog a financial planner and not get in trouble with anyone, right? It is just anybody can call themselves.
As long as your dog doesn't give investment advice, because then
there'll
probably be some regulation there. But you could definitely advise on budgets all day long.
I can chat with him about the Series 65 registration requirements and I'll get back to you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
But I think the thing to know, particularly with a certified financial planner, is that you know that this person is skilled in a broad section of financial planning topics, right? So retirement planning, investments, taxes, insurance, all the exciting stuff. And so it's almost like, I mean, it's basically like a master's degree for financial planners. And then you have a major exam. It's almost like the bar equivalent of financial planning.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. So just for context, way back when I worked at a broker dealer, I had gone to school financial services. So I actually majored in financial services, and I happened to get my coursework done for the certified financial planner designation while I was in school. So I was one of a few. You can go get it while you're in college, or you can get it after college to get your classes done for the certification. But I was sitting next to somebody who was in the same program as me, who had sold sodas. I don't want to pick a brand. I don't know, can I say compliance wise? Can I say Pepsi or Coke? Basically, it was like a soda distributor, went around. So because he could do sales, he didn't have the background in terms of the financial planning education, but because he could do sales, he was able to be in that program as well. And we were both there looking to build books, a business. Right. And so with a CFP, there is an underlying just foundation of education that is required that you want to know that your advisor has gone through. You want to know that your advisor is hitting beyond investments. They're hitting, that's the comprehensive financial planning that people say they do. They're hitting those other topics. That is the requirement. You need to pass the classes. Then you pass the grueling 2-day test, which was I don't think it's 2 days anymore.
I think it's 1 day now.
It's 1 day now. Sorry. I'm
kids
so old.
These days.
So old. I never know what a Scantron is. Anyways, I used to have to wait. When I got my CFP, I had to wait to get a letter in the mail. I don't know if you have that too. Yeah.
Yes.
Kids these days, you just know automatically. So nice.
We also had to walk to take the exam uphill in the snow.
Both ways.
Exactly. Kids just don't get it these days.
Don't. But anyways,
I honestly, once I got my pass letter, I jumped up and down so much, and I'm not a very small person, that our downstairs corporate neighbors were like, oh my God, it's an earthquake.
So I was in my office too when I got my mom called me. My letter went to my parents' house, and my mom called me. I was at work, and I remember staring just in my office, jumping up and down, staring out the window in Pasadena. Great.
But I love that story that you put out, because basically, if you're just going for kind of a random term, you could be getting a soda salesman, or you could be getting somebody who's spent the last several years learning how to do this.
Yeah. So it's important to understand the baseline foundation of education. Where was somebody educated? What letters do they have after their name? And what were their requirements? So there are also, the issue is we pick CFP because there is a variety of letters after names for advisors these days. And so there's a lot of continuing education you can do in areas that you can specialize in. But the CFP is one of the core competencies of just like a foundational knowledge that you want to look for. So do not be distracted by the other shiny letters after somebody's name. The CFP is always what you want to look for.
Yeah.
CFA is also great. Chartered Financial Analyst. That's a good one in terms of investment management. There's a great focus there. That's also really just like top tier designation. That is investment specific though. That's not the
Yeah.
comprehensive financial planning. So just know that difference from a CFA chartered financial analyst to a CFP certified financial planner. Those are the two you're looking for. The CFP is going to be the one that's going to get you the comprehensive, able to get the advice in all your financial areas.
So how would you find an advisor that you knew was looking out for your best interests?
There are a couple of ways. I mean, there's actually a handful of ways, right? There's organizations that you can use that you can search through. So there's NAPFA, National Association of Financial. Nope, that I don't know. NAPFA is one of them, and we're going to put a link to it because I'm going to.
National Association of Personal Financial Advisors.
Oh, I was like an association of association. I forgot the advisors. I'm like, what's the other A? I was like, that's not right. Personal financial. So, yeah, yep, advisors. And NAPA is a great one. You can go directly to the CFP board to do a search.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason like a lot of people just go to trusty old Google and you look for a CFP in your area if you're looking to go local or like you're specifically looking for. So, but Google is your friend. You can go CFP and if I was like, I could do female CFP in San Diego works with type A women. I don't know. I could put something like that, in my Google search and see what pops up. And so I think there's some great ways that you can do if you're starting out on your own. Getting referrals from friends and asking around to see who they like and what they're interested in, I think is a great way too. But I think looking to those, you always want to go to an organization where they are presenting you with options that your advisor is a fiduciary, which we should probably talk more about.
Yes. Yeah, the fiduciary term, that's the F word, but like the cool F word. It basically means, and it's kind of, honestly, it still blows my mind.
Cool too, by the way. The other
Is
F
it?
word.
It's still
Yeah,
cool.
it's still
Different cool. But this one you can say in front of your kids.
Yes.
The fact that like we needed a word to describe what a fiduciary is kind of upsetting in the financial services industry because it's basically all it means is that the advisor will put your needs ahead of theirs.
Yep.
Like that's pretty much it. Can you imagine like any other profession? Like imagine going into your doctor and be like, do you have like a health standard where you need to like put my health before your, pockets?
I mean, we could digress a bit, but then we have like the pharmaceuticals and the recommendations that are being prescribed.
That is true.
So I'm just kidding.
That is true.
So there is that concern.
Touche.
But like, let's talk about like, what does a fiduciary, like, tell me how that could play out in my life. So if you're my advisor and you're not a fiduciary and I don't know, let's say I've got a couple $100,000 that I just inherited. I'm coming to you, Dee. Like what could that look like? I'm like, I have a couple $100,000.
Right.
I don't need it right now. I'm ready to invest for the long term.
Great. So I'm not a fiduciary.
Right.
I work at a firm where I can put you in one of two portfolios, right? One of both of these portfolios, they meet your investment objectives. They meet your needs. They, are good long-term portfolios for you. One of them is super low cost, and I don't really get much of a commission off of those. But this other one over here has a lot higher fees. And you know what? If I sell this fund, I also have a better chance of winning that trip to Hawaii. So that's called the difference between a fiduciary standard and a suitability standard is that, right? A fiduciary should put you in portfolio A all day long. A suitability standard, well, we can kind of move you into A or B depending on my incentives. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
That's it.
Plus, I'm going to Hawaii. Hey.
Hey. So that's why fiduciary is incredibly important. So CFP, you want the fiduciary as well. That's an incredible aspect. So you can search on, depending on the platform you're using to search for an advisor, but we'll talk more about questions you need to ask. You want to make sure that is either on the advisor's website or that you are point blank asking them if they are a fiduciary when you are interviewing to make sure that you have that option.
Right. What about compensation?
So there are, a variety of ways that advisors can get paid. So Neela just mentioned one of them, right? So we have the commission, right? So depending on what product or investment that I therefore convince my client or tell my client it's best for them, recommend, they decide to buy it, then I'm making a commission, right? I get some percentage of that sale comes back to me. The percentage of the revenue goes in my pocket, whether it's a one time or ongoing. That's a commission, right? I get a payment for the product I'm selling you. Fee based means I can earn a commission. So that means that we can charge, you can either be charged, I can charge you a fee, like an ongoing fee, and I can also earn commissions. So some advisors are fee based, which means they might charge you the 1% on your portfolio to manage the investments. And then they also may sell you an annuity, which will then give them a commission. So that's going to be what a fee based advisor does. Like a lot of advisors do that. And then fee only advisors are the ones that receive payments from clients they work with. Basically, that's going to be there's no kickbacks, there's no commissions. They're only getting compensated on what's in your best interest at all times.
Right. Your
So,
fees are right where you can see them.
yep. So which one do we prefer and do we recommend?
I mean, I think it doesn't, we are obviously partial here,
Yes,
but in terms of incentives, I think it matters, right? And
Mhm.
it's like I think a fee only model is the best insurance you have of alignment of interests, which means that like honestly, your clients should be the only ones paying you. I don't want to get paid partially by, some of these funds or by these other organizations or wrap fees, et cetera. So fee only is our recommendation.
Yeah. And it's what I will say I've been in the industry for 20 years and I've worked in a variety of firms. I'd say I've been at fee based and then also I moved to fee only like over a decade and a half ago. Fee only is what feels best for me in like working with my clients. Fee only
Yeah.
makes me feel good of like I'm doing what's in their best interest. I'm not incentivized. I'm not looking at one product over another, and I'm not influenced either. I'm not being
Right.
influenced by like even if you think like, oh, I'm totally neutral, knowing that just the psychology of knowing that one could pay you more than the other is gonna create something there, even though you could claim to be neutral all day long. Fee only, I think, keeps it cleaner slate.
Which is honestly one of the top questions that you can ask as you're interviewing your financial advisors is how are you compensated?
Yes.
And are you a fiduciary? Right? You get really good information just to those two questions. Like what are your credentials? What is your background in financial advising? And how do you get paid?
Yep. Exactly. What else do we have here? So we have talked about compensation. We talked about fiduciary. We talked about lack of regulation in certain areas.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about, when it comes to interviewing financial advisors, what am I looking for from a relationship? If we're sitting down across the table from somebody,
Yeah.
what questions are you asking beyond there's the facts of like just the facts of like how much are you paid? Are you fiduciary? Like those
Right.
are yes or no, but there's still a large swath of people out there who could say yes and check the boxes on those things. So
Totally.
then from there, what am I looking for?
Yeah. I want to know if you have experience working with people like me,
Right.
right? I
Mm-hmm.
have these concerns. Do you work with people like me? Would you know
Yeah.
how to advise me? That's a big one. I think the other piece is, am I truly getting financial planning or am I just getting investment management?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because financial planning touches a lot of aspects of your life. And we think the best option really has a marriage of investment planning and financial planning so that they're really working in tandem. So it's like, do you provide financial planning? Like, tell me what you mean by that. As an
Mm-hmm.
advisor who does comprehensive financial planning and really goes in depth, that's a really fun question to answer.
Yeah.
Because then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, like you have this question. You've talked about how do you save for college? Like, what about, are we looking at 529 plans? Are we starting to have these conversations with our kids? Am I coaching you on having that conversation with your kids as you're getting closer to the college years? You can kind of tell honestly based on how somebody lights up. Like a
Mm-hmm.
great detailed
Yes.
financial planner gets asked that question and they're like, "Oh my gosh, well how much time do you have? Let's talk about all
Yep.
the things we can do together."
Yep. Yeah. I completely agree. I think it's really important to identify first before you're going in to interview somebody, you need to know, are you looking for investment management? Are you looking for financial planning? Are you looking for both?
Right.
Or do you not know? Right. You could just be
Right.
starting and just not really know what you're looking for or what you need. And so being clear and being kind of inquisitive about that as well. Like, do you invest, what's the investments look like? Do you do financial planning as well? Like, what does
Right.
that look like? And understanding. But I completely agree. Like, I know when I'm asked that question, when I have a prospect in front of me that Neela just talked about like vibing, and she has like this great shoulder move that we did.
Do you
Hers was great.
vibe?
Yeah. Do you
Do
vibe? And so,
you vibe?
yeah. And so if you vibe, Like, you know that your advisor lights up. And so I know when I sit across from like a woman who's like type A, like aggressive in her career, also like trying to manage the family. Like, I just know like those are the ones where I'm like, yes. And here's what I've seen in the past, and here's what I've done. And I'm
Yep.
talking to them of like a totally like I see you, I get you, I want you to know that, and I want to share that like I have worked with like similar types of clients before. And so you should have that feeling from your advisor, right? You
Yeah.
should have that the person you're potentially working with, you should have that feeling of like, yes, they have experience here. Yes, they are confident, and like they have a plan, like a
Yeah.
process for how they're going to
Right.
help you. You want to make sure, I
Right.
think that's the other thing, is like making sure not only that they have experience working with you, but the process they're going to bring you through
Yeah.
feels like it would be
Right.
beneficial.
And I think also knowing what is important to you, right? You
Mm-hmm.
talk about like type A, like communication is very important to me. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know, how are we going to be communicating, right? Are we going to
Yep.
be able to do Zoom meetings, or is it only in person, right? Can we do phone calls? Will you be available? How long before I get a response to an email? Like, how collaborative
Yep.
is this? Just kind of what can I expect helps check off the like type A in my mind of like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
just need to know what I'm looking at, right? What
Yep.
does this engagement really mean?
Yeah. And I think you also understanding like what can you lean on your advisor for? Like what kind
Yeah,
of questions like can we call you with, or should we call you with,
right.
beyond like we're scared of what's happening in the market, right? Always call your advisor for that, and hopefully they tell you that. But beyond that, like open enrollments coming up, like can I lean on
Yeah,
you? Or like taxes, like where like, a lot of people are like, do you do taxes? Like, no, we don't do taxes, but like maybe we can help you to like have some considerations in your financial plan, know what to
right.
look out for, what to consider, other like 401k investment allocation. You want to have your advisor sharing and instructing you of like when it's appropriate for you to lean on them as well,
Right.
because you don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah,
so like leveraging their experience there, like when should we reach out?
totally. Yeah, and you also made me think of the idea of depending on what you're looking for and also where you are in your
Mhm.
financial journey can also influence the kind of relationship that might make sense to you, right?
Yep.
If you are really just getting started and you need some pointers in the right direction, a long-term ongoing relationship might not be the right fit, and you want to start with like an hourly session, or,
Hmm.
if you don't have enough to really even pay for a session like that. Let me rewind that. If you aren't able to pay for a session, or you just need a one shot go, you can look into pro bono opportunities or
Yep.
find an hourly planner to just help kind of put you in the right direction. I'd
Hmm.
say as things get a little bit more complicated, that's probably when you want to start looking for somebody that is available on a more ongoing basis so that you can start to develop that relationship, learn and start to grow together.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So figuring out what feels comfortable for you personality wise, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's, again, you don't know what you don't know, but I think based on our experiences, like we're financial advisors, we've been in this industry for decades, and so we have clients who leave other advisors to come work with us. Like that's just
Right.
natural, right? Clients move around, and so there's reasons that clients leave their previous advisor. It could be communication, it
Yeah.
could be like it could be a mistake, for example, but it could be feeling like they're not heard. So I think being mindful of the active listening from the advisor, like
Yeah.
do you feel like they actually truly see you? Do they recognize what your true kind of core concerns are, or are they mostly pushing an agenda and kind of
Right.
trying to put it into a box? So I think being on the lookout of like a little bit of trust your gut on some of those
Yeah.
things, right? Like if you're feeling closed off, or you're feeling like, hey, maybe the advisor is talking to your spouse but not addressing you, like those are
Those are
flags.
big.
Those are things to
Yeah.
consider, like just right off the bat. Like, I mean, if you're not included, don't move forward.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because there's like a quick little test where it's like if you are in a meeting with a financial advisor and they're talking more than you, probably not a good fit,
Right.
right? Like, are they interested in telling you more about them than they want to actually learn about you? That's a red flag.
Red flag. Absolutely. Yep. What else?
This is one is we were going to link to a couple of blogs that we have on this subject, but something to just be aware of. I know we talk about CFPs, and there's actually only just over 100,000 CFPs out there. It's
Mhm.
not a huge
I gotta say,
number, right?
yes.
It's a
Hmm.
pretty narrow segment of the population. But something that's happening in the financial advisory business overall is that it's aging, right? That essentially we have a lot of people who got started as financial advisors in the 70s and 80s coming out of the insurance industry.
Mm-hmm.
And half of all advisors are over 50. So I think an important question, especially if you're working with somebody who's a solo advisor, is what's your succession plan? What happens if
Yes.
you get hit by a bus, right? Is there a team there that will be able to support you? Is there a multi-generational team that is set up so that you might not have to make this decision ever again? So I think it's an important question even to just ask, just so you have some peace of mind that you're not hiring somebody who's going to retire in 2 years and then you have to do this whole search all over again.
Yes, exactly. I think it's a great point, right? I think asking about success, it's okay to work with a large firm, work with a small firm, work with a solo advisor, but I think the succession planning for your own comfort is very important. They might not
Yeah.
be retiring in 2 years, but you do want to make sure, even if they're in their 30s, 40s, that they do have a succession plan. It's like, what happens
Yeah.
if they have a medical emergency? How do
Right.
you find out about it? And like,
Right.
when do you find out about it? And so you want to make sure that there is some thought and a plan around that. And they
Yeah.
typically should have that as part of their
Yeah.
documents as well, but you never know. You want to
Right.
ask.
And I think to add to there are basic questions that we want to make sure you're asking, but at the end of the day, financial planning is like a highly personal
Mm-hmm.
field and it touches so many aspects of your life. So you made this point of like what are you looking for? Like if the thing that is most important to you is like, hey, I want to make sure that my kids become responsible stewards of wealth. And I really want to have like more family conversations around this. Do you all do that? Like,
Yeah.
make sure that you're getting what would actually add the most value for you. And you would be surprised what financial planners are able to do.
Yep. Yeah. And there, like I said before, there's a spectrum of specializations and sub
Yeah.
designations. So make sure, like, you can probably find an advisor that specializes in what you're doing. You just have to
Yeah.
be able to ask, though. And so going in armed with questions is really important. You can do a quick Google search for questions of to ask. I mean, well, this will be searchable as well. So you can walk in with a list. I think the other thing that I know does come up a lot that comes up on those lists that we even debate here at Abacus, I've seen a lot on the list, is ask for a sample financial plan. And I don't know.
Mm,
And so, and I don't know. I don't quite think it's necessary. I think it could give some people a peace of mind. Like, people want to see, like, what's the output? Like, what's the
right.
deliverable? I bristle at that a little bit. I want to give people context of like, here's what it's going to look like, but please know this is outdated the minute that I hand it to you. Your life is
Yeah.
consistently changing. Your goals are changing. This is a one time at this moment in time plan that we're going to, that we're
Yeah.
using to move forward, but it's not the end. And so
Yeah.
know that if you are asking for a sample plan, just that shouldn't be like that shouldn't be a deciding factor for you. You want to
Right.
know that you're going to have a deliverable. If you feel comfortable, like you need to have something to walk away with, great. You might want to have an idea of what that looks like. But I mean, we don't typically do it here at Abacus because of that, because again, it's ongoing, it's changing.
Right.
You get to do, you're walking away from every meeting probably with some action items anyways, and it's just
Right.
this fluid thing, but it can give some people peace of mind. And so know that that will be one of the things that does show up on those lists of like, can I see a sample financial plan? Know that
Right.
not all advisors do it. And the value that you place on it, it's a software that we can utilize to help us run the numbers, but it is not, that software is not going to say, hey, stay in the market with like this, the volatility that's
Right.
happening right now. It's not going to give you the peace of mind that a human
Yeah.
in conversation and connection will give you. So
Right.
that's my soapbox on that. But I think,
And like to your point, if the true goal is financial peace of mind, like how will you give me that peace of mind?
right.
Right. This is a piece of that, right? This is the financial planning software we use. And this is how it's going to show you how distributions can be taken over the rest of your life and what your taxes are going to look like and all these different projections. But at the end of the day, I want to feel like my money is being cared for and that my plan is being cared for and that I am able to do what I want. How are you going to give me that?
Exactly. All
That's
right.
it, though.
That's it. I hope this is helpful. There will be a transcript of this, so hopefully that's easier for you to download and highlight for some questions and takeaways if you're listening on the go. But we do encourage you to do your research, check out some of the websites. It's a big decision to work with a financial advisor. So just do your research.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of If Money Were Easy. We hope you're walking away with some fresh insights, maybe some inspiration, and some ideas to apply to your finances, life, etc.
If you're excited about these conversations, we would love for you to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and YouTube. It's one of the best ways for you to support the show, and that way you will never miss the latest from us.
We're also turning If Money Were Easy into a community, and we'd love your help building support. So leave us a review, share your favorite episode with a friend, and we'd be super grateful.
We are also launching a newsletter. There you will get the episode updates, behind the scenes content, all of the bloopers from Neela and I, and what we are reading, watching, and listening. You will find the sign up link in our profiles.
The bloopers are choice, just going to say. They're really, great. Really great. Please connect with us on Instagram. We're at Mary B. Storj and Neela Hummel CFP.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.